Welcome to Stoic Path, where we explore timeless wisdom and modern insights to help you lead a purposeful and fulfilling life. Today, we're looking at signs that someone dislikes you and is hiding it. Let's be honest, most people won't directly say if they don't like you. Instead, they hide their true feelings behind fake smiles, empty compliments, and forced politeness. I've been there too, thinking someone was a friend, only to find out later they were secretly hoping I'd fail. It's a tough truth, but if you don't recognize the signs, you might waste your time and energy on people who don't truly value you. So let's get into it and discuss the signs that someone dislikes you, but is hiding it. You might not like what you hear, but facing the truth is better than living in denial. They're always making jokes about your flaws. We all know someone who loves to joke, especially when the jokes are about you. They'll point out your quirks, mistakes, and imperfections, all with a smile saying, "I'm just kidding." At first it seems harmless, but these jokes often have a deeper meaning. They're not just funny comments. They're meant to chip away at your self-esteem over time. I had a close relationship with someone who always had something to say about how I dressed, spoke, or the projects I was working on. I laughed it off at first, thinking it was all in good fun. But eventually I noticed a pattern. The jokes always focused on my weaknesses, never my strengths. I started to doubt myself, wondering if these flaws were as bad as they made them seem. Here's where it gets tricky. People who joke about your flaws aren't doing it because they care. They're testing how much disrespect you'll tolerate. It's a subtle way for them to assert control while keeping you in your place. They're sending a message that you're beneath them. And the worst part? Society often tells us that if we can't take a joke, we have the problem. But let's change that. It's important to stand up for yourself when a joke crosses the line. You deserve to be around people who lift you up, not those who put you down for a laugh. True friends don't need to highlight your flaws to feel better. They support you through your weaknesses and celebrate your strengths. I've seen people let these jokes slide, thinking it's easier to avoid conflict. But allowing others to disrespect you, even in jest, can erode your confidence over time. The more you accept it, the more they'll push, leaving you doubting yourself just because you didn't want to seem too sensitive. I learned this the hard way. By laughing along, I realized I was letting them disrespect me. It wasn't until I started setting boundaries that things changed, not just in how others treated me, but in how I saw myself. So, my advice is this. The next time someone makes a joke at your expense, don't just laugh it off. Ask yourself, is this really funny? Or is there something more going on? If it's the latter, don't hesitate to call them out. It might be awkward and could even end a friendship, but your self-respect is worth more than someone's misguided sense of humor. Life is too short to be around people who don't value you. If their version of friendship involves pointing out your flaws, it's time to find new friends. True friends will never need to put you down to feel good about themselves. Stand up for yourself and don't let anyone make you feel like a punchline. They give compliments that feel like insults. We've all had someone give us a compliment that feels more like a jab. It's the kind of compliment that makes you wonder, was that praise or a subtle insult? Often it's both. These backhanded compliments are a sneaky way for people to put you down while pretending to be nice. I remember sharing a project I was proud of with a colleague. They said, "Wow, this is actually pretty good for someone like you." It seemed like praise, but the last part, for someone like you, felt hurtful. It made me question if I wasn't expected to do good work. These backhanded compliments are a power play. They're a way for someone to make you doubt yourself while making themselves feel superior. It's a tactic used by people who are insecure and want to keep you from rising too high. It's like they're patting you on the back while holding you down.
Here's the controversial part. We've all done it at some point. Maybe not intentionally, but we've let our insecurities show in the form of a compliment that reminds someone of their place. But here's the key message. You don't have to accept this disguised negativity. You can see it for what it is. A reflection of their insecurities, not a measure of your worth. When someone says, "You're smarter than you look," or "This is good, considering you're new at this," you don't have to take it at face value. Call it out, even if it's uncomfortable. It's better to confront it than let them control how you see yourself. I've learned to recognize these comments as a reflection of the other person's insecurities. Instead of taking it personally, I now question the intent behind the comment. When I get a backhanded compliment, I'll respond with, "Thanks, but what do you mean by that?" This often surprises them and makes them rethink their words. The takeaway: don't let disguised negativity define you. Compliments should uplift, not bring you down. If someone's words leave you questioning yourself, question their intentions. Life is too short to waste on people who can't genuinely celebrate your successes. Surround yourself with those who appreciate you for who you are. They subtly exclude you from plans. It hurts when you realize your so-called friends accidentally forgot to invite you to events. They'll say it was an oversight or a last-minute decision, but often this is just a way to exclude you without saying it outright. I've been left out of events before. I once saw pictures of friends having a great time at something I would have loved to attend. When I mentioned it later, they had excuses like, "We thought you were busy," or "It was so last minute." Deep down, I knew if they really wanted me there, they would have made sure I knew about it. Here's the harsh truth. This kind of exclusion is intentional. It's a way to show you're not valued without saying it directly. They don't want you there, but don't have the courage to say it. Instead, they hope you'll quietly fade away without causing a fuss. It's passive-aggressive and common, but not often addressed. It's easier to convince yourself it's just an oversight rather than face the fact that you're being pushed aside. But if you keep accepting these excuses, you're letting them control your place in their lives. I learned this lesson the hard way. For a while I stayed silent, hoping to be included next time. But I realized that by staying quiet, I was allowing myself to be treated as an afterthought. So, I started calling them out, asking, why wasn't I invited? It was awkward, but it made a difference. Some people became defensive, others tried to make amends, but the important thing was, I wasn't going to be excluded without a fight. Here's the deeper message. If people truly want you in their lives, they'll make an effort to include you, no matter how last minute the plan. If they don't, it's time to reconsider the value of those relationships. You deserve to be around people who don't make you feel like you're always chasing their approval. True friends include you because they genuinely enjoy your company. They use being too busy as an excuse. It's a common excuse. I'm too busy to hang out. But what happens when you notice they're always free for others, posting about their activities, but never have time for you? Here's the tough truth. They're not too busy. They're just too busy for you. I've faced this frustration before. I'd reach out to a friend trying to make plans, but they always had an excuse. Meanwhile, they seemed to have plenty of time for others. It took me a while to realize that I was no longer a priority. Here's the controversial part. We've been conditioned to accept busy as a valid excuse for being left out. But people make time for what and who they care about. If they're always too busy for you, it's not about their schedule. It's about their priorities. It's a hard truth to accept because it means you might not be as important to them as they are to you. Busy is often a polite way of saying, I don't want to spend time with you. I've been on both sides of this situation. Sometimes I made excuses because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. But being on the receiving end taught me a valuable lesson. It's better to be honest, even if it's uncomfortable, than to keep making excuses. When I finally confronted my friend about being too busy, it was awkward, but it gave me the clarity I needed to focus on relationships where I was valued. Your time is precious. Your energy is valuable. Don't waste it on people who can't make time for you. If someone is always too busy for you, it's time to rethink the relationship. You deserve to be around people who are excited to see you and include you in their lives, not just when it's convenient, but because they genuinely enjoy